Good afternoon and welcome to another week of training a miler for the Dragon's Back Race 2025 in September 1st to the 6th, Conwy to Cardiff. Wow, this week is going to be a kind of recovery week because this is Friday and it's my first proper run, even though Monday of course we were recceing day one of Dragon's Back Race, and so that was the start of the week, but I just did that as a separate video. So yeah, this is going to be a short one this week because it's Friday already, but I'm just going to debrief the day one experience. See you in a bit. So before I get into the nitty gritty of debriefing that day one full recce, let's just give you a little bit more insight into the Dragon's Back race, and it's something I haven't talked about yet. If for any reason you don't meet the cut-offs on any of the days, including day one, then your week isn't over. You're still going to get an experience because they have something called the hatchling course, which essentially is half, you choose which half of each day you want to do up to Cardiff. And if you're really brave on the hatchlings, the day after you got pulled out, so if you got pulled out on Monday, when you get to day 3, you can have a go at doing the whole leg again, but you've got to meet the cut-offs, of course. So the reason I mention that is because after that day one recce, they gave me a reckoning. The first time ever hatchling course entered my mind. I'll tell you why, because it was very windy on the Sunday when we recceed. You saw that on the summary video, but even so, we, with a couple of stops, made the car park at checkpoint 5 with a quarter of an hour to spare on the cut-offs. So we thought, oh hello, we're doing okay. However, you've got to get there really by 1 o'clock the latest, and 12:30 ideally, because we then went straight up Trefan, got hopelessly in trouble at the top. Not danger trouble, just could not find the summit. Even though I've recceed it with Royal Adventures, we were about a minute from the summit and about 20 metres from the summit height, and we could not find a path away. Anyway, 2 walkers rescued us and said, just go up that gully, you'll be fine. So we did. But the point I'm making is we had a 2-hour mile split when that happened, and that cost us, I would say, we were about 50 minutes of faffing about trying to find a route. We kept going down a bit, round corners, trying out different routes. Now the good news is, of course, on race day now, I know even though the route I took was trickier than the one we did with Royal Adventures, I'm just going to stick to that because I know it's there, I know how to reach it, I know how to get to the top, and I'll just do it. But even allowing for that, let's say 45 minutes, on day 2 of our recce, which was the Monday, better weather, and we went over Cribgoch and the Snowdon Horseshoe to the finish. And even there, we were still a good 45 minutes slower than we needed to be on race day just to make the cut-offs. And remember, when I say just to make the cut-offs, this is the scraping through. You know, you're not really ahead of the game, you're chasing the clock all the time, and you're only just going to get into camp by 10 to 10. So it's not where you want to be at all. But anyway, that's why my mind started to say, well, goodness me, this recce took us forever. In total time moving, we were 18 hours, which would have been midnight. So we've got to find 2 hours just to get in by 10 o'clock. And ideally another 2 hours to get in at a reasonable time in daylight. And at the moment, or when I first started to think, oh my word, hatchling course, then I hadn't really reflected properly, because I've now reflected and I'm a bit more positive. I'll explain why in a moment. So, why has my reflecting made me a little bit more positive? I'll tell you why. Because if you imagine, I could probably go out and cane race a 10k in about 39 minutes at the moment. based on my current fitness. Now the thing is though, if I went out and just recce'd the route that the 10k race was going to be and ran it hard, there's no way I've got enough adrenaline, I haven't got the game on attitude, and I'll probably run it in about 42 and a half minutes. And that's the point, is if you ratio that up across an 18-hour day, that will probably find you that difference about 3 hours. And so I started chucking some numbers into my calculator to find out what my factor was away from elite performance on any sort of terrain, any course, and I'll tell you how the maths went in a mo. Okay, so let me explain my performance factor. My performance factor is typically 1.5 to 1.55. Now what is a performance factor and how did I calculate that? Well, basically, first of all, for track and road, I take any world record and then I work out how much times that my performance is. So take the 10k road, typically the elite run 26 and a half. As I just said, I could probably run 39. That's about 1.5 times slower. So I then looked at things like the Keswick Mountain Festival, the Chester 50 and the Pennine Barrier 50, and worked out how much slower I was than the course record, because we want to know how this factor works on terrain. And it turns out I'm about 1.6, 1.65 outside of the course record, which is the fastest known time. So this is where I got more relaxed, because all of those times are based on go for it efforts, really, not recce efforts. Now that means we take Max King, who got in 8 hours last year, pretty much super elite, and I factor that by 1.6 or 1.7 even, then it's going to put me around about 13 hours. So with the adrenaline of race day, the knowing it matters, the keeping moving at all costs, drive, push, really I'll be letting myself down if I don't get in by about 8 o'clock. So although 4 hours at the moment seems like an age to make up, I think if I factor in that attitude and remember that race day is always different to recce's. Anyway, that's my positive spin. Isabel had already adopted that, because even though we did that 18-hour recce, she said no, 8 o'clock on race day, that's what I'm targeting. And she will, because she'll fly up Crib Goch, she'll fly across the ridge, she'll fly down the descents, and in 3 months time, with her strength training and endurance work I'm writing for her, she'll fly up the ascents as well. So I wouldn't put it past her getting in at 6 o'clock. But put it this way, she'll be in quicker than me each day. So there you go. I'm so glad I have recce'd the whole of leg 1 though, because from Conwy to checkpoint 5 there is a lot of opportunity to really make up some ground if you just keep moving, keep running, keep jogging on the runnable bits, and hopefully pray for good weather on the 1st September, because that is the factor that is going to mean so much. Good weather, please. Bye for now, see you on tomorrow's run. Good morning and welcome to Saturday. Now if the wind's blowing some of this audio around, have no fear for the future videos. We've got on order a little upgrade for the old GoPro, a little media upgrade, with a better microphone with a wind little buffer on it. So this might be the last time you have to tolerate poor audio with wind interference. Hey, I see I'm investing in you, the viewer. Hope you feel honoured. Now, last night was our awards evening, and a delightful event. great to celebrate so much. Great running from everybody in the club over the calendar year that is our calendar year, which is the 1st of May to the 30th of April. But I was very, very honoured and pleased to get the Outstanding Achievement Award for the last year. And when our men's captain read out just how much I'd got up to over this last club calendar year, including a couple of Masters medals, bronze over 30k trail, silver over steeplechase in the M55s, plus, let's just face it, quite a few ultras, a couple of 50 milers, 50k's, a trail marathon through a mud fest, park run thrown in. And when I was listening to it, I thought, well, goodness me, that is actually, even to my ears, even though I lived through it, quite something to get up to in one calendar year. But that's Dragon's Back training for you, isn't it? It's just part of the course. Got to get that sort of activity in. And now though, we're into the next year, which includes Dragon's Back race. So got to live that chapter and make sure do our utmost to get around that course. Anyway, I'll speak to you in a bit. So another consideration for the Dragon's Back race and footage and this channel. Now it's pretty clear, I've probably filmed loads of the route and I've filmed obviously most of my runs, but I'm going to be confessing now, viewer, I'm going to be taking zero footage of day 1 and 2, probably zero footage of any of the legs, to be fair, because it's faffing. If I get my GoPro out, just trying to find it wherever I stored it, and then turning it on, deciding what to film, then turning it off, putting it away, talking 30 odd seconds, sometimes as much as 45 seconds if you stop still to film, which you will do. Can't happen, can't happen. So forgive me now, the actual race week footage will literally just be my thoughts in camp about the day and my thoughts about the going forward. So it'll be reflections in camp rather than footage of the race. I think you kind of knew that though, didn't you? Sure, you wouldn't put expectation on me to go around filming while I'm trying to race flat out and make up every single second on a course as crazy as day 1 and 2. So thanks for your understanding. Knew you'd be on board with that, but it's good to get that out there now. So manage expectations. Anyway, what I will be doing though is mindfully storing it, because let's face it, we only form memories if we're present, and if we're not present, we're lost in our mind, lost in our thoughts, we're actually not really seeing what's going on. However, because of the pace I'm going to have to run at and how much attention I'm going to have to pay, I will be 100% mindful. So trust me, those commentaries in camp, reflections, will be very accurate, but you have to use your own imagination to conjure up what it was probably like. There you go. So, another thing that recce of leg 1 gave me full clarity on was my drop bag strategy. Do you remember, I know week 12, I was saying, I'm going to have 2 drop bag strategies. One is the luxury one where I stop for a while, change t-shirts, have a little mop down with some baby wipes, you know, a bit of a reset, and a bit of a chill really. Well, that's gone out the window, scrubbed it. My drop bag strategy is fill your water bladders right up to the top with water again, chuck the electrolyte tablets in, chuck a bit of tailwind in, get your next lot of nosh bag out, load it up on your sack, go. And I hope to be out as quick as it took me to say that. Obviously filling up 3 litres of water in a bladder, it's going to take a bit longer, but that's the principle. There you are. Nice to have simplicity in things, isn't it, eh? The more simple you can make things, the less you have to think about it. something else perhaps you the viewer can give me some top tips on. I don't want to lose my hat in the wind because I need it to protect my beautifully sculptured smooth head. So my thoughts are cable tie through one ear out the other and then just cable tie it on. Let's face it, there's not much going on in between the ears, so it's probably best use of that part of the anatomy. However, if you do have any better ideas for keeping your hat on in all weathers, do tell. This grass is quite, or wheat or whatever it is, quite long, isn't it? What do you reckon for it, folks? Ford or bridge? You know me. Very, very disappointing Ford. Just a puddle really. There you are, Izzy. Just for you. But they're behind the electric fence. That's what we do in Essex, keep them away from us. Bit of an update. 11 miles in. This is a 20 and I'm struggling today, really struggling. It's heart rate's racing 158s, can't get it down. Often happens after a big event the weekend prior. I have a sort of little bit of a recovery and then by the next weekend I'm absolutely spent. But it's good to run through these. I must say there's no pressure to run this in any particular time. I just want to try to keep some sort of running pace going for the whole run. And around about 11s, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, a bit of a slog today, but I will get it done. I will get it done. Well, this is an interesting new approach to training. I'm 14.72 miles in, I'm down to 12.5 minute miling, which is for me barely moving when you can go running pace. So I've made a decision for this training run. Speed hiking is a bit of a skill for Dragon's Back, so I'm not going to run the rest. I'm just literally destroyed too much in my legs from last weekend, I think. So I'm trying to hike the 14-minute mile in, and that's the pace I'm going to try to keep up for the rest of this run. We're still training, and as I say, the ability to keep hiking very fast is a necessary skill for Dragon, so I may as well practice that rather than try to force some sort of run out, which is only going to go about a minute and a half a mile quicker anyway, and absolutely I'll hate it. So there you are, new strategy. Here we go. Yeah, 14 minute 30 miling. See if we can keep this up. Right, I'm not calling it failure. No such thing as failure. There's just outcomes. But I've phoned Jenny and I'm going to get her to meet me at the 17 mile mark in Dunmo, accompany me up, because I'm barely walking and I'm going to listen to my body. There's something, not something wrong, but something's ringing in my mind. Something Shane said in his video about doing the Dragon's Back all in one go. He said that he got himself into positions where he overtrained and didn't really recognise those periods, and I'm one for sort of, if things really aren't right, you can't even walk on a run without getting out of breath and your heart rate being 150 odd, then something's screaming at you, just like, call it, man, call it, take it easy. 17 mile run banked anyway, time on feet banked, which is still nearly 3 hours. But if I try to just keep this next 3 miles going, I'll save it for 1st of September, that sort of effort. This is training. Train, don't strain. Train, don't strain. That's my mantra. And I'm moving into straining unnecessarily. So there you go. Now, I'll see how I feel tomorrow. I might put another run in. If I don't, I'll record another little video to sign this week off. Otherwise, see you tomorrow on the last run of the week, Sunday. So, as it happens, that was a wrap for this week, because the heel pain's back, that dreaded heel pain. Now, I'm in a special secret location, which you'll find out in next week's video, and if the heel allows, there will be some running. So thanks for watching, tune in next week, and I'll see you then.